Hello everyone, Jeff here. I was asked by a friend, Matt, if there was a way that one could fix the stars in an image, mainly because the background data is good, but the stars are ruining the image, and could be because you got a little tilt or your collimation might be off a little bit, and you've got some elongation, or you actually have donuts based if it's like a fast scope, and you've got a little tilt and it's out of the sweet spot of the focus. And I asked him if he would send me the data, which he did, and we will take a look at both images. The first one he sent me was M3. And if we zoom into M3, we'll start up in the top corner here, and we can see that we have some problems, or we have some elongation on the top left corner and the bottom left. So to me, this is looking like tilt or collimation. I'm not sure which scope this was, but given that it's a fairly large image, or these, excuse me, I think this might have been with his C8 with a reducer in it to get this kind of field of view. We can definitely fix these stars, but what poses a problem with the routines is this. There just is a big glob of mess here. Not that the stars look bad, but it's just the routine is looking for individual stars, not a glob. So I'm not sure how well what I would do would work on something like this, so we aren't going to use this. But we will use this one. And this was taken with his Raza. And if we start in the left, oops, sorry. We can see that there's a little elongation, but it's not too bad until we get to the right side, and we can see that we start to have some problems here. And what we're looking at is some donuts. And this is mainly because the tilt of this sensor is so severe that it's out of the focusing sweet spot, and you can never focus in this corner. And I think if we go down, yes, it's the same on the right side, so that the sensor is tilted to the right. So what I'll do is, in Siril you can run a tilt test on your data by selecting this icon here. And if we run it, we will see that he's got a pretty bad tilt. And it doesn't matter what the numbers are here. It just matters that there is tilt, and that because the tilt is so severe, he is out of these, he could never ever focus this side. One of two things will happen. You focus for these stars, or you focus for these stars. And my guess is that he probably focused on the center, which accounts for the majority of the right side being off. So what we can do to fix this is we can select the stars, remove them, and then start to work on them without the background in place, because the background looks good. There's nothing wrong with the background. It doesn't mean that because the stars look bad, that the background is looking good. It's not. The background has got the same problem as the stars. It just isn't as obvious. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you another feature of Siril, is the dynamic PSF tool. And what this does is it will select stars, and any star that's in orange is a non-saturated star. Any star that is in purple is a saturated star. So I'm going to close this window, and we're going to run desaturate stars. And you'll see this is a 16-bit TIFF file, so I don't want to change it to 32 because it won't work. It didn't start out as a linear image. And one of the things that you could see is that this tool, because of the way the image was acquired, has also taken the saturation, any saturation, out of the background, and that's not what we want. But if I go back and run the PSF again, so I'll just kill this and run it again, we should see that all the stars except for this and this one are now desaturated. So the way that we can get around this limitation is to go back and then remove the stars. And because this is a nonlinear image, it came in already stretched, and that's because of the program that was used to capture the data, Mellencamp Sky. And this is a stack. As soon as we start making it a 32-bit file, it just does, Siril doesn't know how to quite handle the data that's in here, and it's better just to leave it at 16-bit and let the software do its thing in 16-bit, because that's where most of the data was processed at. I believe, I'm not sure, I'd have to ask Matt, but I believe that this was acquired at 8-bit, then he started working on it and changed it to 16-bit, and that's part of the problem. So now we're going to go into star removal, and because this is a stretched image, we do not want to pre-stretch. We just want to remove the stars, and this should go pretty quick, so we'll just let it go, and I'll fill you in on fast scopes like my RASA 11, and in this case Matt's RASA 8, have a very small focus window. In my case, it's 64 microns, which means that if you're 64 microns out in a corner, then you will never achieve focus, or you'll get elongation if you're close enough to that 64 microns. And you need to fix your tilt or your collimation, because you'll only have one side, in this case, one side in focus, the other side won't be. And in this case, Matt took the worst or the best of two evils and got 3/4 of the image in focus. So we're going to wind up with a background here, and we don't want the background. What we do want is the star mask. So now I'm going to go back and run the dynamic PSF, and I'm going to drop the roundness factor to 20.2. And what that'll do is it will select the majority of the stars, which is what we want. And if we zoom in, you'll see it will not get all the stars, but it will get the majority of the stars. And then again, orange is good, purple is bad. So I am going to close this window. Oops, I didn't want to do that, sorry. I wanted to close the window, Jeff. Okay, close the window, and then I want to go back and run the desaturation tool. And that will desaturate the stars, which means I'm going to have to stretch them a little bit, but it's better to do this on just the star layer, which is why we broke the background out from the stars. And Siril currently has a problem with the scroll bar, the progress bar for the desaturation tool and the full resynthesis. Someday I'll learn how to say that. Not today. And you can see that as soon as you see the execution, it's done. And you can see that the stars that were saturated are now desaturated. And how you can tell is to go back into the tool and just run it again. And what should happen is you should wind up with no purple, which we got 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to worry about it. So we're good here. We're going to close this. But as you can see, the stars have, the desaturation has also changed the intensity. So what we want to do is go into the GHS. And I'm going to do an ashen, modified ashen, even weighted. And I'm just going to go in and select an area that's got some stars in it. Pick that point and just bring these up to maybe something like this. And the ashen, the modified ashen, is going to reinforce the color. So I think that's good. We'll apply this. We'll close this. And now I'm going to zoom in. And you'll see that we did not fix the stars, but we desaturated the stars. And here's our problem childs. So my next process is going to be selecting stars again. We want to go back and select stars because we're going to now correct the stars. And I had to bring the intensity up on them a little bit because this will also have a tendency to back off on, because it's making the stars round. So that will change their shape and also their intensity. And again, we want to, and it's done. So I will go back into here and we're going to delete. And one of the things you can see is that the intensity is lower, which we'll fix, but the stars are all round now. So if you remember, we had some elongation on this side. And on this side, what we had were donuts. So the donuts are gone. We have color in the stars. It may not be the most accurate, but again, I'm dealing with what I was sent. So what I will do now is just up the intensity a little bit on this. I won't use a modified ash, and I'm just going to do a stretch because I don't want to overdo the color. So I'm just going to grab something like here and oops, go here, and I'm just going to bring this up a very little bit because I don't want to blow out the stars. So I'm kind of liking that. I mean, this is something you'll have to figure out for yourself. And I'm going to drag the highlight down because the highlight is going to protect. As we start stretching, we're moving the histogram to the right. So the highlight pulls it back, which will not, which will help us keep from oversaturating the stars again. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to close this. Now I want to save this image. So if you click on this, this will save over the original, which is what I want. So now we're going to go back into the star processing tool, and we want to do star recomposition. I'm going to grab the starless image, and then I'm going to grab the star mask. And there's all our stars. And if you don't like the size of the stars, you can just drag the black point, and that'll make them smaller. So now, if we go into, you'll see that all our stars are around wherever we look. We also have some nice color in the stars. And they're all round. And where we had donuts, we have round stars. There's a bad one there, but that was an oversaturated star that didn't get desaturated. There are ways you can work on that. If you see a star that didn't get selected for some reason, you can just draw a box around it while you're in the PSF tool. And then I believe you can just click PSF here. Oops, sorry. Why is it doing this? Pick a star. There. So we just picked a star. So let's get rid of that. And you saw it put it in the PSF list. But I just tend to go with what I've got. Now, some of the stars that didn't get selected, they still have donuts. So if you want to get more of the stars, you just lower the roundest number. And that will grab more of the fainter stars. But when you zoom out of this thing, tell me you can see those. So that's a way that you can repair your stars and maintain the color of the stars. You desaturate the stars, then you have to bump up the intensity of those stars, enforce the color of the stars. Then you do a full resynthesis on the stars, and then you can recombine them, the background and the star mask, to get a what was a broken image to an image that saved your data. Now this image has some walking noise in it, and that's a function of the capture program, not anything to do with the camera or the optics. It's just the way those are hot pixels that start walking. And unfortunately for Matt, he's using such short exposures. I think he's around 2 or 3 seconds. I can't remember. Maybe 4-second exposures for this. And he might capture 30 30 frames in the stack, and that's how much the walk-in noise is accrued over those 30 frames. It's not bad. So I hope this helps everybody. It's a neat tool, and this allows one that doesn't actually work with an AP workflow to use an AP program and the tools in that AP program to fix your nonlinear data. So on that, clear skies, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.